This is the Human Digestive System and Nutrition by myself, Stacey Thorne. The human digestive system starts at the top with the mouth, and it goes through a series of different stages before we finally end up at the anal canal. This is the absorption and the digestion of food into the body, the use of food groups and the use of enzymes within the body, and mechanical and chemical digestion. So we start at the mouth with the intake of food into the mouth. This is where we bite and chew and mix food with the help of teeth, tongue, and also saliva, which helps to keep it moist. It starts with the breakdown of food as it passes on to the next stage. The saliva consists of water, mineral salts, Tylon enzymes. The enzymes will help to break down the starchy food. This is the start of chemical digestion. The pharynx has a role to play in both digestion and respiratory system, but we're looking at the digestion side of things. Once the bolus, has left the mouth, it will travel through the pharynx. It will be moved on by involuntary wall muscle contracting, and it pushes the bolus over the epiglottis, so it travels to the esophagus and not into the larynx. The esophagus receives the bolus from the pharynx, and it's this stage that gravity aids the liquid down into the stomach, but the process of solid bolus is carried out by peristalsis. This is where the muscles contract and relax and force the bolus down a circular tube of the esophagus. The liver is the largest organ in the human body and is responsible for storing bile, which transports to the gallbladder. The bile is used to break down the bolus and digest into fatty acids. The gallbladder is used to store the bile to digest the fat into fatty acids, and bile carries the waste from the liver. The stomach is a hollow organ. This part of the process, the bolus is churned along with the gastric acids to break down the food, is what is known as chyme. The gastric juice that is made in the stomach contains of water, mineral salts, hydrochloric acids, and the enzymes. The acid in the stomach helps to kill off any bacteria and helps to break down the bolus. The small intestines is about 7 meters in length and has 3 main parts: the duodenum, the ileum, and the duodenum. Peristalsis continues from the esophagus all the way through the intestines. The chyme turns into an alkaline base in the duodenum, and it mixes with both the intestinal juices and the pancreatic juice to complete digestion. What is left is absorbed through the walls of the villi. The villi are basically lots of fingers which increase the surface area in order to make the absorption through the walls faster and more efficient. Everything else is pushed along to the large intestines. The large intestines is shorter compared to the small intestines, as it's only about 1.5 meter length. There are 4 main parts to the large intestine, each perform a different role. It creates the feces, removes water from the feces, and absorbs vitamins into the body. The bolus enters at the cecum. It then goes to the ascending colon, where the water and the nutrients removal from the chyme starts here. The transverse colon, which is the mass movement, occurs here as a strong wave of peristalsis, forcing the chyme to the next stage. These waves happen every 4 to 6 times a day in an adult. The descending colon mainly stores waste, but it will also absorb vitamin K, and it will keep the water balance correct. The sigmoid is where the feces are kept until the mass movements happen and they are forced out through the rectum. The rectum, as we're nearly ending the process, is the storage plant for unwanted feces before it's expelled from the body. And the anal canal is where the feces finally leave the body. Now we talk about chemical and mechanical breakdown. Mechanical breakdown starts as the food enters the mouth by our tongue chewing, and this is done by the weight of our teeth and tongue chewing the food in order to mechanically break down. This is known as mastication. The chemical side of things is where we start to release saliva, but it carries on through the digestive tract. A key part is hydrochloric acid, which is produced in the stomach, and this kills the bacteria from the bolus. A balanced diet, as we can see here from the Eat Well guide, 5 basic food groups show how much we should eat in order to have a healthy, balanced diet. It consists of protein, carbohydrates, fruit and vegetable, milk and dairy, fat, which is saturated and unsaturated, and a proportion of how much of those we should actually eat. Enzymes that aid in the digestion. All enzymes need the best environment possible for them to work. 2 of the main enzymes that we use pespine, which was produced in the stomach, which helps to break down the amino acids. This works best at a level 1.5 to 1.6 pH level. The pest bin will break down the partially degraded protein into smaller peptides which can be absorbed into the bloodstream. And the salivary amylase, which is produced in the mouth, helps to break down the starch molecules into smaller sugar molecules. The optimum pH level for them to work is 6.7 to 7. A balanced diet basically is everything in moderation as far as I'm concerned. We all need to stay fit and healthy, one for ourselves, for our own well-being, but also so we don't become a strain on the NHS. We can all live happier and healthier lives. Thank you very much.